Dr. Britt here.
Dr. Lisa, and we're from Errol Street Chiropractic in North Melbourne. And today we're talking about stretches for your lower back. So if you get lower back pain or stiffness and you're wanting to go through some stretches, well, we've got 5 fabulous stretches for you.
We do.
So we're also going to go through why is it important to stretch. We all know that, but we're going to really look at that. We're going to go through obviously those 5 stretches that you can do, how long to hold those stretches for, and how often to stretch. So these are the things that we're actually going to chat about today, as well as obviously showing you the stretches. So who's the guinea pig?
You're the model today, or the guinea pig, and I'm going to run you through, guys. So just to start with, look, a lot of people at this point in time are finding that their lower backs are quite sore and stiff, just from trying to the change from working from home and maybe sitting in not the most ideal work desk setup as well. So we are seeing a lot more people with that, just that consistent tension through their lower back. So the reason that we say to everybody to stretch is to make sure that we are preventing injury.
Number 1.
Yeah, we are improving mobility and flexibility through the spine. We're releasing that tension that builds up in the muscles, and also just helping your back stop feeling so stiff and tight all the time as well. So we do say to everybody to try and stretch daily, okay? So whether that be as a way of having a break from your desk or the computer, just breaking up that that posture and that seated time, whether it's stretching after you've been out to do some exercise, or just doing, getting on the ground and just doing some stretching as a way of having a bit of a recovery if it's your day off between your exercise as well, dedicating a little bit more time than just that general stretching after you've exercised as well. So we say stretch daily. That's the best way to actually help your muscles and reduce that tension that builds up in your muscles as well.
Yeah. And it just feels so good.
It does. It's a nice way of just, getting some movement and just feeling nice and relaxed as well.
I think it's also a lovely way of getting you back into your body.
Yes,
especially if you're so busy worrying about everything else and children and work and the house and the dinner. And it's just a nice way to kind of focus in on yourself and use that breath to help relax you completely, as well as working therapeutically on your back and on your muscles, and remembering all muscles come back to your back.
They do. Your muscles connect to your spine. So in order to have really nice relaxed muscles, we need to have a good aligned spine, and vice versa as well. The muscles need to be nice and relaxed. And some days I think our bodies just need a break from some of that more higher intensity exercise, and that's stretching and getting your mat or just getting on the ground or like a soft ground and just doing 20 minutes of some stretches and some mobility movements. It's actually a nice way of just as you said, recentering your body as well.
And we see lots of different people in here that do all sorts of different exercise, and even the guys that do a lot of, and gals, but I say guys for guys and boys, they find that they'll do that high intensity and then they can't be bothered doing their stretches because they've done the hard work. But the stretching is so important to help to prevent injury and to help prevent a lot of that stiffness the day after. So these stretches are great, guys. They're definitely minimum of once a day. But use them as a break if you're sitting and doing your work mid-morning, mid-afternoon.
Especially if you are desk bound at your computer, and especially if you are you're one of those people that are working from home at the moment, and maybe you don't have your normal ergonomic setup that you would if you're in the office with that your sit stand desk. This is a nice way if you are now predominantly seated every day, just getting that that change up through your posture and that release through your lower back as well.
So this is what we see with people. Yes, I've done my stretches. Show me how you've done X stretch, and they go, done. That's it. So apart from 2 seconds, how long should we actually be holding?
We should aim to hold our stretch for at least 30 seconds to a minute, okay? So anything less than 30 seconds, you're not actually stretching your muscle. So the idea when we are stretching is to try and lengthen the muscle and release that tension. But really anything less than 30 seconds, you're just moving your body. You're not actually getting in and releasing the muscles as well. So 30 seconds to a minute is what you aim for, and you need to make sure that you're balancing both sides of your body. So it is important to, if you're going to stretch, give yourself a bit of time to do it. Otherwise, you're not going to get much out of it. Make sure that you're wearing loose clothing, so don't try and stretch in your jeans. It's not easy and you won't get as much out of it. So make sure you've got clothing on that will help you move into the stretch. And also just make sure you've got a bit of space around you as well, so you can actually lengthen out. If you need to have your arms out, you've got that room to move as well.
Beautiful.
All right,
I'm really excited
Let's
about
run
these
through
stretches.
them. Okay, so the first exercise that I'm going to get Lisa to do is a little bit of like a yoga flow. So it's just the cat-cow, which you guys probably have heard a lot about, and your child's pose. So these are more of a mobility movement than an actual stretch, but they're a nice way, especially when you're starting off your stretching routine, just to work on just getting some movement through your lower back and just, releasing a little bit of that tension as well. So you move into your cat and then your cow. So you either arch your back and flex your head in, or you create a flat back and extend your head, okay? And so these are a movement, and you should give yourself about 5 seconds to move into your cat and then 5 seconds to move into your cow. And you want to work on doing 10 cats and 10 cows. Sounds a bit funny, but yeah, so that's more of a movement than a whole, but you want to just do a gentle movement. So 5 seconds to flow into one movement, and then 5 to flow into the other, and then 10 of each. And then from there you can move into a child's pose, which is really nice. It's a nice way of getting some stretch through that lower back, and this is a stretch. So you want to hold that positioning for about a minute, and really just try and get your bottom as far as you can towards your heels as well. So especially if you are stiff and tight, you might find that doing your child's pose, your bottom's sticking up into the air, which is okay. You just got to work within your range of motion as well. Lisa has a good little tip with her child's pose. What do you normally do, Lisa?
Yeah, I add just a little side stretch there. So you just kind of walk your hands over to one side of the mat. So you're going to be stretching the opposite side of your thorax and also your shoulder. And you can hold that there. And then you just walk over to the other side.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice. So you could do a minute into your child's pose, and then you could do between 30 seconds and a minute on doing your side stretch as well throughout the side. Beautiful. All right, so that's number one. Number two is stretching out your, what should we start? We'll stretch with your glutes, okay? So from there, we want to work on just releasing our glutes and our piriformis muscle, and these are the muscles that make up our buttocks. So your glutes have a few different muscles there's a few different layers of your glutes, and there's another big muscle called your piriformis. And you can get a stretch in both of these when you are lying on your back, both knees bent, and then you bring one ankle to your knee, and then you draw your hands around your opposite thigh and you draw up, and you should be getting a stretch through the buttock muscle that you've got your ankle touching your knee, okay? And you want to really hold that for a good 30 seconds to a minute, because this is a nice one to stretch out if you are getting a little bit of that sciatic pain associated with your lower back pain as well. Okay, so that's your glutes and your piriformis muscle. Your next one is your hamstrings, okay? So we find a lot of people who have really tight lower backs have really tight back of the legs. Very, very common.
Too much sitting.
Too much sitting, okay? So we want to work on stretching out the backs of the legs. So you can do this in a number of different postures. Lisa's doing it standing, where she's just got her leg out and she's pointing her foot towards her face, and she's also got a slight bend in her opposite knee as well, just to stabilize her balance. You can do this as well lying on the ground, where you draw your leg up to your head, and you always just want to make sure your foot is pointing towards your face, because when you do that, you get a little bit more activation through the back of the leg. And you can also do this with a chair. Just always make sure that you're nice and balanced, but you can bring your leg up onto a chair and just stretch down as well. So really working on stretching the back of the legs as well. All right, so the next one Lisa's getting into is a combination of a hip flexor stretch and a QL. So your QL is that muscle that runs down the side of your lower spine, okay? So with this one, we're stretching our hip flexors to start with. So we get down into a lunge position, one knee on the ground, the other outstretched in front. And then what we want to do is do a pelvic tilt in. So you want to tuck your bottom in, and as soon as you tuck your bottom in, you should feel a nice activation and a bit of a stretch already into that hip flexor. You can do a really gentle lunge forward, but I find if you are tucking your pelvis in properly, you should be getting that stretch straight away through your hip flexor. And then from there, what you want to do is make sure you're supported and then do a side bend. So you're leaning away from the side of the hip flexor that you're stretching. So you're really lengthening and stretching out that side of the body while you're stretching your hip flexor as well. And that's a really nice one for just really opening up through the side of the body and the lower back as well. You look like a ballet dancer. And the same on both sides. Make sure you are balancing it out and holding for at least 30 seconds to a minute. And this one, if you're feeling quite good in it, you don't have to just hold for 1 minute. You can hold for a bit longer if you're getting a nice stretch. And you feel like you can probably get more out of it as well.
It's quite strong. It's really nice. Especially if you've been sitting all day and we tighten up those hip flexors. This is a really lovely one. And if your knees are a bit sore, then just make sure you...
Put a cushion or something.
Exactly,
And if you've got floorboards, make sure you do put a yoga mat or if you've got a rug, make sure you do it on the softer surface. You don't want to be stretching on hard floorboards.
No, we don't want to create more problems.
No. And then the last one that we're going to go through is a knee to chest stretch. So you're lying legs straight out onto your back, and then you work on drawing up one knee to your chest and just really hugging your knee towards your chest. And you can hold there for 30 seconds to a minute on either side. And then what you can do is then just do some gentle alternating legs side to side, where you just hold for 10 seconds and switch, which is more of just a mobility. And then to end, you can bring both knees up towards your chest and hold. And then you can do some, small rocks side to side or some circles, clockwise, anti-clockwise, just to help, massage your lower back into the ground and just keep that mobility through your hips and your lower back as well. And another good one that Lisa really likes to do as well is she's doing here is the side bend. So once you finish off with your knee to chest, both knees are bent, and then your legs kind of almost like a windscreen wiper. They go over to one side really gently and then over to the other side. And your opposite arm can go out, so the arm opposite to the direction that your knees are going, and that just helps increase a bit more of that stretch to the side of your body as well.
And then be careful how you're getting yourself.
Be very careful, especially when you're coming up from the floor and if you don't have anything to help guide you up as well. But it's really important to note that if any of these exercises actually increase your lower back pain, please stop. It just means that your body really doesn't need to be stretched in that direction, so it's not actually going to be helpful. So stretches should be relieving, not increasing your pain as well. And if you are stretching quite regularly, and this is something that you already do, but your lower back is still quite tight, then that's a sign that you probably need to go and get your spine assessed by a spinal health practitioner. If you already see somebody, whether it's a chiro, osteo, physio, any of those, as long as you've got someone to go and see that can actually assess and see what's going on with your lower back. But I also say, even if you are stretching and the stretches do help, but you still have that regular occurrence of lower back pain, that's also a sign that the stretching isn't enough. There's an element of your spinal alignment that is obviously coming into play, and that really is advisable to go and seek some help as well.
Your joints might be a bit stuck and your muscles attached to your spine, so if the joints are stuck, that will really just kind of make those muscles stay really tight all the time, because when your spine's out of alignment, your muscles will react and just tighten up all the time to try and actually protect it. So in that case, you feel like you're releasing and stretching, but it's really not doing anything. And that might mean that your pelvis is not aligned well, or your lower back is not aligned well, and then you may need to get some help there.
Good to get to the root of the cause, so it's not an ongoing issue for you as well. But and then that way you can just be stretching generally to stop that tension from building up, not to continually be relieving your pain.
And just look at animals. I mean, animals out there, you see the dogs always stretching, the cats always stretching, little kids always on the floor stretching. So it should really just be a part of your day. So any comments, guys, or any questions that you'd like us to answer, then just comment below or send us a private message. We are more than happy to answer anything. So thank you, Britt. That was awesome.
Pleasure. Thanks for being my model.
That's okay. I feel really quite nice and
limbo
now. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
See you guys.
Bye.